It is important to keep Toastmasters International records up to date. Members are not eligible for awards unless they appear as members to Toastmasters International. Members are not eligible to participate in area and division level speech contests unless they are shown as members in the Toastmasters International database. Toastmasters International uses its own records to determine the qualifications for club awards, such as President's Distinguished Club. The count of new members and overall membership level are important. All club officers, including the treasurer, have access to the club roster. This page shows where it appears in the Toastmasters International menu structure. And this page shows an excerpt of the data that Toastmasters International will export for you in Excel. Toastmasters International carries every piece of information that the club collects on an individual. It includes the member's name, mailing address, email address, and telephone numbers. This should serve as the club's primary data source. This information should be accurate for all members. The club, of course, has other databases. The VP membership uses information from our club guest book to keep a list of prospective members. The VP Education keeps a mailing list of people who participate in meetings, many of them members of other clubs. Those officers should ensure that, to the extent that the databases overlap, their databases agree with Toastmasters International. The dues payment by member report is what the treasurer uses to keep himself honest. It is the most essential of the reports, dealing as it does with dues, the most significant source of income and expense. The report I'm showing here shows money collected and money dispersed for dues and books over the course of the most recent renewal period, starting in September 2016. For most members, the report shows both a receipt and a disbursement. Conveniently, the accounting software shows the disbursements in red and the receipts in black. In this report, there are several entries that do not match. These are mostly for new members for whom I have not yet paid Toastmasters International. We were waiting to rent a post office box to collect their manuals. So the unmatched entries here are my red flag, actions that I, the treasurer, need to take. When they match one for one, everything is as it ought to be. We received money from the member and we paid money to Toastmasters International. The second half of the reconciliation is with the Toastmasters International roster I just showed you. The member should show up there. I would like to call your attention on this report to the entries for one person, Evo Kirsten. The question is, how did the reporting software know which transactions belong to Evo in the period in question? Later in this presentation, I will show you the answer. This is the special events report that I mentioned earlier, the one that spans several years. The question to be answered is, how much does Art Talker spend on the club birthday celebration? It is a relevant question because our birthday is coming up again in February. What this report shows is that in 2014 and 2016, we spent about 2,000 hryvnia from the treasury. In 2015, however, we broke even. We asked members for contributions to cover the cost of the event, and they came through. As I noted in talking about exchange rates, the 1,900 hryvnia in 2014 is really more money than the 2,030 hryvnia in 2016. As the club treasurer, I was able to use the balance sheet report that I just showed you to determine that we have something more than $700 available. We could budget 2,000 hryvnia, or $80, for the club birthday if we wanted to. However, the club is budgeted to operate on a break-even basis. If we spend the money, we might not make it back. Therefore, the recommendation is to put out the collection box again and see if we can break even on the club birthday party in 2017. This is an example of how the financial reports are used in the planning process. Businesses report their profit and loss on a periodic basis. Usually they report to the shareholders every quarter. Every fourth quarter, that is to say, every year, they have external auditors validate the books. They produce an annual report with a statement from Arthur Young, KPMG, or Price Waterhouse justifying to the fact that the numbers reported appear to be correct. The quarter is a logical reporting period for Toastmasters as well. Our dues cycle incorporates 2 quarters each, fall and winter, then spring and summer. The terms of office of members of the Executive Committee are annual, July to June. Reports that summarize by month would be more detailed than necessary, but anything longer than 1 quarter would not serve all reporting purposes. We need to report in one currency or the other, hryvnia or dollars. Since our income is in hryvnia and our members think in terms of hryvnia, it makes sense that we do our financial planning in that currency. The exchange rate makes a difference. If we do a year-over-year comparison in hryvnia, our budget appears to increase. If we do the same comparison in dollars, it appears that our budgets are going down. We need to be aware of what is behind the numbers in the reports. The reports that I just showed you select and aggregate data to present it in a meaningful way. Looking at hundreds of individual transactions would be overwhelming. A person just could not make sense of them. Every transaction needs to be tagged with data fields that make it possible to aggregate them into reports. The most important fields are the date of the transaction, the account that was affected, was it hryvnia or dollars, or was it a bank or was it cash? What was the money for? What is the category of income or expense? Who was the payee? Most of our transactions concern members. We identify them by member name. What was the amount of the transaction in the currency in question? And lastly, when clarification is necessary, we need a description. If it is a member paying dues, we don't need to ask any more. If it is an expense for the club birthday party, we want to know if it was for party favors, food, wine, or the restaurant.